All right, what's going on, guys? Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. This is DStyleBoxing. Make sure you hit the like button if you like the video. Um, Here's my thoughts. All right. Um, Look, I've been, I've through my feed here, I see the titles of the videos, and I didn't hear all of them, but I heard chunks of them. And Wilder versus Joshua. Okay. Here's my thoughts on this. All right, I'm gonna give you my thoughts. These are DStyle's thoughts. Right, that's it. Like that's all this is. Right. I think what's happening here. All right, this is what I think. It depends what the question is. Okay. So if you ask me, would you like to see Wilder versus Joshua? Then my answers are resounding yes. Okay, yes, I want to see that fight. Why wouldn't I want to see that fight, right? Now, if you ask him another question, and the question is, does Wilder at this point deserve a fight against Joshua? Then that's an entire different conversation, right? Now, me personally, he is a title holder, right? And I went on record and I said, if Anthony Joshua, needs to give a rematch to Klitschko, I am perfectly fine with that, right? And if Wilder has to fight Ortiz, I'm fine with that too. So it's and if that fight still happens and Joshua fights somebody else, I'm fine with that as well. But that is an entirely different conversation, all right? Now, if you ask me, who do you think is going to win the fight? Do you think the fight will be competitive? All those are different questions. Now, those questions, the ones I just mentioned, is it going to be competitive? Who do you think will win? There's only one way we're going to find out. Speculation and me believing so-and-so could win. And I've already made a rule on this channel. I don't give predictions unless a fight's official, right? So I'll hold that for the future. But there's only one way we're going to find that out, and that's if they fight, right? Now, it's not that I don't believe some, it doesn't have to be an Anthony Joshua fan, right? But whether it's an Anthony Joshua fan or a boxing fan who's looking at it from a certain perspective, right? Do I understand the argument of, well, look, Anthony Joshua, he just finished fighting Klitschko, and what has Wilder done lately, right? Now, we got to put things in perspective. Many of the things that happened were out of Wilder's control, right? He could have had Povetkin, right, on his resume. Now, who would have won that fight? I'm probably one of the few channels that thought Povetkin had a good shot at beating Wilder, right? But again, we don't know. And the fact is, Povetkin was busted, man, twice already, right? But when he was going to fight Wilder, and of course after that, okay. No, but look, I'm not getting into the whole Povetkin thing again, okay. Povetkin smash. I'm not going to get into that, right? And then of course Wilder had an injury, right? And now he wants to get back in the ring. Here's how I say this is the way it should go down, right? First of all, I don't get, and I'm being very sincere when I say this. What's so hard about admitting, or let me backtrack. What's so hard about maybe taking the position of, yeah, I'll watch that fight. I think it's a fight I want to see, but I don't think it's. If you want to say it's not the right time to do it, then you can say that. Okay. I mean that's perfectly fine. If that's your opinion, then present that, right? But But we have to kind of distinguish what we're asking here. We have to be able to kind of let's be specific on what we're talking about, right? Because one thing is clear. I don't care what anybody says. This fight, whether you want to watch it or not, personally, is irrelevant. You know, whatever specific individual does want to see it or doesn't want to see it, at the end of the day, this is the biggest heavyweight fight that could be made right now. It's the biggest fight, right? So if you say, well, Wilder is in a draw, well, like, oh yeah. I mean, name me all the big draws at heavyweight, please. Can anybody do that, please? Please, right? I don't have a problem with Anthony Joshua, fighting Ortiz, and I don't have a problem with Wilder fighting Ortiz or Joseph Parker or whoever. Okay, I don't have a problem with that at all. Right, but I will say this, right, and this isn't everybody, but for those that are arguing that, and this is a lot of the Joshua fans, if this fight is such a piece of cake, if this is such an easy fight, and it's not, people are making a big deal, and Wilder doesn't really deserve to be in the ring. And if Wilder really is that vulnerable, okay, wouldn't you want Joshua to get that victory under his belt? Like if you think it's a foregone conclusion that Joshua's going to win, why wouldn't you want him to just get that victory under his belt? Do you really think Pulev would be a bigger win for Anthony Joshua? But why DStyle? Well, what if somebody beats Wilder? What if Ortiz fights Wilder and Ortiz beats Wilder? Well, what happens then? Well, we could watch Ortiz versus Joshua. Fair enough. But I'm okay with waiting. The question is, how long do we wait? How long do we wait? And if you don't think Wilder's done enough, then please tell me, what can Wilder do? Right? What can Wilder do? And by the way, keep in mind, whatever criteria you give me, whatever you say, Wilder has to do this, he has to beat 4 top 10 guys, whatever it is you tell me. The next guy that Anthony Joshua fights that is not a mandatory better meet that criteria. If you catch what I'm saying. If the next guy Joshua fights, it's not a mandatory. I understand he has to fight mandatories, right? I get that. But the next guy he fights that is not a mandatory, and if his name is not Wilder, then whatever you tell me, well, Wilder's got to beat 2 top 10 guys, or I don't know what each individual person out there, I don't know what you expect. Like, you tell me, okay? I'm not going to put words in nobody's mouth. You put it in the comment section. You put it in the chat. Tell me what Wilder has to do. Put it on record. I want people to go on record. Tell me, what does Wilder have to do for you to say, yes, now we can make the fight happen? I want everybody to go on record. That's what these styles ask. That's all I ask for. I'm not against the fight happening next. I'm not against the fight happening next. So I understand, okay. I said, if he has to fight Klitschko, that's fine. If he has to fight a mandatory, that's fine too. But please, if you argue, well, Wilder it's not the right time, or Wilder hasn't done enough, Wilder hasn't earned it yet, then tell me, what does Wilder have to do? So we put it on record. That way, once he fights a mandatory, right, then the next, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I want you to know that. Right? He's going to end up, if it's not Wilder, he's going to end up fighting somebody who's not a mandatory. Klitschko's retired. He's gone. And if that guy, we'll call him Mr. X for now, doesn't meet the requirements that you were imposing on Wilder, then you better be saying you're against that fight. Now, you better be saying, I don't like that opponent. I don't like the fact that Josh is fighting that guy. Like, that's all I ask for. That's all I want. Now, if you want to say, hey, I don't make the rules, right? I get that. That's why I say it, fine. Let Joshua fight his mandatories, right? If Wilder has to fight fucking Stavern again, let's fucking get it out of the way, right? I sincerely believe these are the top 2 heavyweights in the world. The collision course is happening already, right? It's at some point it's going to happen. The question is it going to happen when it's supposed to happen? Or is it going to happen years down the road? Or is it going to be another, Riddick Bowe versus Lennox Lewis? And no, I'm not comparing them to those guys, but I'm saying about the situation, right? And I understand this whole different, situation. This is, I get that. But I'm talking about a fight that we wanted to see that we didn't get. That's what I'm getting at, right? I want it on record. Tell me, what does Wilder have to do so I understand? So DStyle understands. What do you want Wilder to do? Well, I want Wilder to at least beat 2 top 10 guys, at least, right? Because it's like, what's that movie called? Where that boxer has to like box a bunch of dudes. Something Town. I forgot the name of the movie, man. But like, it's this whole you got to go to the gauntlet before you get to Joshua, right? I mean, I'm not exactly sure what gauntlet Joshua really went through to get his shot against Klitschko. But if you want to impose a gauntlet on Wilder, fine. But I want to know I just want to make sure that every guy that Joshua fights from now on is meeting that criteria, right? Let me say, Wilder needs to start drawing more. Like, if you want to take that route, then every dude that Joshua fights better be a big fucking drawing powerhouse then. Okay, and like I said, I get it. We as fans don't make the rules, so when it comes to mandatories, I'll give it to you. We'll let mandatory slide. I understand he's got to fight mandatories, right? I get that. I'm okay with getting the mandatories out of the way. If they're the 2 best fighters in the division, they'll take care of the mandatories. But all I'll say is this, and this is just my opinion, okay? This is just my opinion. Look, I understand that there could be some guys out there that are biased towards Wilder, and I get that, right? But some dudes, man, like you just act kind of funny when we start talking about this fight, right? Like let's stop acting funny. Let's just be straightforward, right? I don't think you're as confident in Joshua winning as you claim you are, right? That's what I think it is. That's my opinion, man. I get that. Not everybody. I think there's some people that generally just think Wilder hasn't really earned this opportunity or something, right? Fine. But I want to know. Tell DStyle. Let me know. What does he have? You tell me. What does he have to do? What would you like Wilder to do? What does Wilder have to do, in your opinion, for you to say, yes, now let's get this fight on? I want to know what that is. I want to know what that is. But remember, if it's not a mandatory and it's going to happen, the next guy that Joshua fights, it's not a mandatory, better meet that criteria, right? And if he doesn't, then I fully expect you guys to criticize Joshua for fighting someone who hasn't met those demands. That's it. That's all I ask. That's not unreasonable, is it? I just want to get on record. Let's get on record. That's all DStyle asks. I'm not asking for the world. This isn't like Scarface. The world is yours. This is not. That's all I ask. Nobody's going to tell me that's unreasonable, right? That's not an unreasonable thing, right? Look, I get it, right? It's like you want, you feel that maybe Wilder has to do a little more. I just want to know what that little more is. Or if it's a lot more, tell me what it is. What do you want Wilder to do? I don't want to hear, look, the Wilder fans said this. Well, the Wilder fans are being hypocritical. Look. I just want the fight to happen. I just want to know what you guys believe has to happen for, in your minds, for this fight to be plausible. That's all. That's all I want. The Wilder fans want the fight. I'm not hearing a lot of Wilder fans say, nah, not yet. And, it's, let's say, like, let me just give it to you. Oh, the Wilder fans are being unreasonable. Okay, fine. You tell me what it is Wilder has to do. We'll put it on record, and then we'll go from there. It's really that simple. Not but the mandatories. I gave you the mandatories. I give you that. If he fights a mandatory, DStyle is okay with that. No, but what some Wilder fans aren't. Like, I don't care what other Wilder fans are saying. I'm telling you what I'm saying. And I'm saying mandatories are fine. Okay, fine. Fight your mandatory, okay? But the next guy Anthony Joshua gets in the ring with, if it's about how much they draw that dude better be a big fucking draw. If it's about how many top 10 guys he's got to beat, well, that guy Josh is fighting better have some top 10 dudes on his fucking resume and recent. Whatever it is, let's put it on record. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. And, I don't think it's unreasonable at all. And if you can't say it, if you're like, no, it's not about that, then tell me what it's about then, right? That's all I ask. That's all I ask. I'm not being unreasonable. Am I being unreasonable? I think I'm being very sensible here. I just want to put it on record. That's it. No, but Wilder has to earn it. Tell me what he has to do to earn it. Tell me. Tell me what it is. Let's get you on record. And next time, and I'll repeat, the next time Joshua fights someone who is not a mandatory, they better have whatever you say Wilder has to do to earn it, they better have done that. Because if not, it's all hot air, man. If not, you're being funny about the fight. And it's okay, right? It's as simple as that. It's not that complicated. This whole thing is not that complicated. It's not. No, I'm not. Look, I'm not comparing these guys yet to the level of accomplishments that these guys had. The ones I'm going to mention, but it reminds me of like the De La Hoya Trinidad thing, when they were the top two welterweights arguably in the world. Now, that was far more stacked division, and that was one of the best, welterweight divisions of all time. So don't get me wrong, right? I know somebody's going to come out, oh, you're comparing to the Just listen to me, all right? And I remember, like, a lot of De La Hoya fans would act kind of funny whenever you would talk about Trinidad. All of us, Trinidad hasn't done anything. And, well, Trinidad's the one fighting nobodies. And, well, the Trinidad is fighting De La Hoya's leftovers. And, you know, it just became all about that, right? And I remember because they acted fucking funny about it. I'm just saying, right? I didn't get it. I wanted to see the fight. I was a kid, but I wanted to see it. After every interview, like it's the guy that they act funny about, that they're concerned about. Okay, it's just the way it is, right? You know, if it's anybody could get it, then, but it's not everybody could get it. When you mention a certain name, all of a sudden it's boxing's a business, and well, you know, we got to kind of look into that, and oh, it's kind of politics. You know how boxing is, mandatories. You know, you just got to get that taken care of, and there's just something's not adding up, right? It's can we at least establish that we all want to see this fight? And if we want to have like I said at the beginning of the video, there's different questions to address here. But if we can't even get past question one, we got a little bit of a problem, right? Can we just, it's okay to say, look, I want to see the fight, but I don't think Wilder has earned it yet. I don't think it's the right time to do it. And just explain why. And that's it. And at that point, it's your opinion, and I'll respect that. Okay? But let's dive in. I have yet to hear a detailed explanation and a kind of like well, he should do this. He should do X, Y, and Z, and then we can get the fight on, right? Well, tell me what X, Y, and Z is. But like I said, if we're going to argue that a current title holder, WBC title holder, okay, hasn't done X, Y, and Z, so he shouldn't fight Joshua, when a non-title holder that hasn't done X, Y, and Z, and that it's not a mandatory, all of a sudden gets announced to fight Joshua, then Houston, we got a problem. All right? And I want this on record. That's all. All right? All right, let's go and open up the chat really quick. Leonard Ellerby, what's up, bro? Wilder is the biggest draw that Joshua could fight. You are right. Mr. Doc, yeah. What Wilder needs to do, quote unquote, in my opinion, is wait for the mandatory situation resolves itself. And for the record, I don't care how the mandatory situation resolves itself. Neither do I. Mr. Boxing Today, too. Wilder needs to, quote unquote, earn it, though, according to some fans. And that's Dickstown. Thank you, Mr. Boxing Today. All right? Do you guys want, Wilder to fight a bunch of dudes? That's basically what it is, right? I'm not even asking for names. Just tell me, does he have to beat like two top 5 guys? Like, I just want to know what do you guys want Wilder to do, right? Should Wilder get over 1 million followers on Twitter? Like, I want you to tell me whatever it is. Tell me, and then once we establish what X, Y, and Z is, right? Once we establish that, then maybe we can work on the consistency later. Y'all heard about that offer he was willing to give Luis Ortiz? No, I haven't heard about that. Mr. Doc, and I don't really care that Wilder does while the mandatory situation resolves itself. NBT Boxing, I'll be honest with y'all. I like to fight, however. I would prefer Wilder to fight Ortiz first. I don't give him much chance against AJ. If he beats Ortiz, it'll make me give AJ more credit if he was to win instead of me and other fans saying who'd beat who, though. It's I like that. It's direct and it's on point. I want to see Wilder fight Ortiz first and then the AJ fight. See, this is what I want. I just want people to tell me what they want. Okay? Don't vaguely tell me that the fight doesn't make sense yet and all this. Don't vaguely tell me that. Tell me what you think Wilder should do, Mr. Boxing Today, maybe I'm just simplistic, but I thought title holders fought title holders. And look, if that's not the standard and people don't think that's enough, tell me what X, Y, and Z is. All right, if it's just an X, if it's just a Y, if it's just a Z. Just tell me what Wilder has to do so we understand, all right? Just so we understand. You know, it's like, at my job, when I want employees to do X, Y, and Z, I have to tell them what I need them to do. You know, I don't just tell them, get it done. Well, what do you want me to do? Just figure it out. Well, I'm not sure what you want me to do though. Just go do it. Okay, go do what? Just get to it now. Like it's just X. Tell me what it is. All right, NBT Boxing. I feel, bro, but we're in a day and age where titles are given out to a lot easier. Like I said, I don't mind it, and it's a fight to see, but I prefer it that way. But I'm just a fan. Mr. Boxing Today asked, what's the offer? And Albie said, I heard Eddie Hearn said that he is willing to sign a contract with Ortiz to fight Joshua in early 2018 as long as he steps aside for Joshua to fight Pulev. Their plan is to fight Pulev, then Ortiz. A nostril. There you go. Mr. Boxing, I'm not against the fight happening whenever. I just don't have faith in the sanctioning bodies to, well, frankly, do anything other than collect money. I agree with that. Mr. Boxing today is arguing this fight is a unification, and it's a unification regardless, right? Look, man, I'm all for unification fights, right? I'm all for unifications, and if this is the fight that's going to unify all the titles, right? And that is significant. Like that's important to me, right? NBT Boxing argues, would it be more awesome for Wilder to clean Stavern than fight AJ's second mandatory, like Ward did with Barrera before he fought Kovalev? Get him out of the way for him and make it one fight earlier? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Was Barrera mandatory for Kovalev? I didn't know that, actually. I did not know that. You know, it looks like he's got to get rid of Stavern, but here's the problem, right? He's not getting credit for the Stavern win now. So if he beats him a second time, they're still going to say he hasn't done anything yet, which is why I want. And here's a situation where Stavern, for whatever reason, and we're talking about the sanctioned bodies, is like is it like a mandatory or something? I believe he is. So he's like in the way, right? And like if Wilder has no choice but to fight Stavern, right? Then that's not like Wilder's fault, you know. But that aside, I still want to know what X, Y, and Z is. Sometimes the sanctioned bodies won't allow you to unify, though. There's different situation of how long fighters been waiting. They have the choice to step aside. There are plenty of money to spread for mandatories in that matchup to make it happen. That's why I like the Vladimir Klitschko cleaned his mandatories quick with 3 belts. Then he had to pick opponents. I believe Hay and Povetkin weren't his mandatories. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe they were either. He also wanted to fight. David Hay was actually a title holder. David Hay beat, was it Ruiz or was it Ruiz or Valuev that he beat for the title? I forgot. It was probably Valuev, and then after that, they make the, I don't know if he fought anybody else after that, but it was a unification fight. He also wanted to fight Briggs for his fans, but he had to face a mandatory at the time. I'm glad that, look, Briggs had no business in the ring with Vladimir Klitschko. Unification for Vladimir. Yes, that's true, Mr. Boxing Today. I believe Povetkin was mandatory. Not sure, though. It probably wasn't mandatory because it went to a purse bid. and they put a lot of money up, and so that's why the fight was in Russia. So I'm thinking. No, wait. What was it? Povetkin like the regular WBA champion, and or something like that, and Vladimir was the super champion. I know this shit's confusing, but that's probably the case. Mr. Doc, you're not being unreasonable, but you're expecting promoters and sanctioning bodies to be reasonable, and that's unrealistic. Maybe they will make it happen, but excuse me for not holding my breath. Well, I agree with that. Mr. Boxing today, who he beat though, should be used against every heavyweight. I never really see anyone else's resume get brought up to light as much as Wilder's. I could nitpick everyone in the top 50 resume. I agree. Like, for example, who are the three guys that Joshua fought, right? Right before he got the Vladimir Klitschko fight. He got to fight for all three belts, right? I think it was most of them, right? But it's Vladimir. Like what? Who did he fight? Like what fight happened that it's like no one was being that critical of AJ's resume. Okay, which I'm sorry to say, it's it's okay, but it's not like a legendary resume yet. It's the Vladimir Klitschko is a legendary win, but that's it. Hey, beat Valua for the title. All right. Ruiz was mandatory. Okay. Oh, so he defended the title against Ruiz. All right. Man, Ruiz was a mandatory like forever with the W. Like I think John Ruiz had like naked pictures of like the WBA president or some shit. Like that dude was always the mandatory in that fucking promotion. It's for like 10 straight years. He was pop like out of nowhere. Like he's a mandatory. Like what? Like again? I I remember the Ollie Harrison fight. That was sad, man. That was Ollie. What happened to Ollie Harrison, man? He should have been a better pro. Later, Albie Briggs admitted to taking performance-enhancing drugs. He said it was for his asthma. Povetkin was a regular champ. Yeah, he was. I agree completely. All the top heavyweights are guilty of not fighting each other. Dylan White was solid win. That's about it. NBT Boxing. I have feelings for all the dispute. It's going to make this fight 10 times bigger. I think this happens late next year, and it's going to be huge. John Ruiz is the worst heavyweight champion of all time, in my opinion, till Charles Martin came along. Man, poor Charles Martin. Yeah, isn't that the guy Joshua beat? What title? Like like did before like if he freeze from the time he beat Charles, was that it? It's not an impressive win, man. Especially if the way you guys are critiquing, like, well, who's Wilder beat? Oh, he beat Stavern. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think Stavern's better than Martin, right? It's my opinion. That's what I think. What makes the only thing that is making Joshua's resume stand out is that he beat Vladimir Klitschko. Okay, yes, and that's a big win. But let's remember he was coming off a loss. Klitschko was okay, and he was 40 years old, right? 42, I think. So he's an old busted up dude. Like let's keep it real. He's still a good fighter, but he's past his prime, right? And but that's the name he has on his resume. If you reverse it, if it was Wilder that fought Klitschko, Wilder's resume would look better. Okay, it's that one fight, and the arguments being made about Wilder not fighting Joshua, right? You could have applied that to Joshua fighting Klitschko. could have made the same arguments, in my opinion. But I just want to know what X, Y, and Z is. I wanted to explain it to me. Charles Martin, I walked this earth like a god. Did he say that or what? NBT Boxing, I think without Klitschko, they are the same level. However, Wilder doesn't have a Klitschko, but Povetkin wasn't his fault. More like Stavern is less bad than Martin. Well, you know what I mean. Larry Allaby, then he walked the earth while he was high. Okay. Look, at the end of the day, all right, at the end of the day, okay, when I remember when Joshua won the title, man, in his first defense, people were making the argument, well, he's new. He's a young heavyweight champion. He deserves a light touch. I remember those arguments being made. Okay, not by all Joshua fans. So it's before the Klitschko win, there was really nothing that stuck out. Okay? So let's be really clear about this. This is not like Joshua hasn't been a dominant champion for the last 5 years with like 7 title defenses. And, that's how people are making it seem when they're like, well, what has Wilder done? And it's that's not even the case here, right? That's not what's going on here. He's a guy, let's be honest. Both guys got an easy route to the championship, okay? And most recently, Joshua beat Klitschko. That's a big name, and that put him over the top, and now Wilder wants to fight Joshua. And fans want to see that fight. And if Wilder beats Joshua, that'll be his name, right? So at the end of the day, let's not act like, Joshua's been this long-time dominant champion for years, and now they want this guy that had beat a weak guy for a championship to get a unification fight. Let's not act like that's what's going on here. But with that said, guys, that's all I got to say about that. I don't want to dive more into that. I'm a greedy boxing fan, man. I want to see this fight. I want to see this fight go down. And look, I don't even mind the fight happening in England. I don't. The fight could happen in England for all I care. I don't care where the fight happens. I want to see it. All right? I want to see that fight happen. So to put true, AJ is not levels above Wilder. Like I said, the Povetkin, if Povetkin didn't fuck up, they'd have equal resumes. Well, I mean, I would still put Klitschko obviously above Povetkin, but yeah, he would have that win under his belt. Now, I'm not entirely sure he would have been in Povetkin, but that's a whole other story, right? But anyways, guys, with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night here, right? Peace.